Chapter 50. Draco x Magika. "You're not seriously thinking of doing as he asks?" Enida spoke out urgently. She looked at Jenny and then at Race, stepping between them and waving her hands manically as she spoke. "You'd let another of those creatures on the world just to save your husband and wife? This place is useless to the elves now. They can't open the gate without you two." "For Gagara I would risk everything," Race replied, turning to look at her. "She is my world." "They could always find others," Jenny replied, "manipulate their lives as they have ours." The son of death and hate seemed to loom over Anita as he spoke. "Besides, the king and Gagara aren't the only ones who are going to die in this battle if nothing is done to prevent it. The death of the king will so demoralise the rest of the army that the elves will easily overwhelm them. The only ones who are likely to survive this battle will be the harpies that I brought to aid you." "Maybe," Anita replied defiantly. "Any survivor of the human race will end up as slaves," Death and Hate explained. "You know what the elves do to their slaves? Race, when you came down here, what did you do with the painting that contains the rest of humanity? Did you leave it somewhere safe?" "Like I'd tell you," Race evaded. He had to let go of the hand of the statue in order to look at Death and Hate properly. "Then I'll tell you," Death and Hate replied. "It's still there in your ring, isn't it? 85,000 or so people, including your own daughter. And you brought them down here into the underground passages. If anything were to happen to you, the elves would find that ring. If you don't aid me here today, then those 85,000 people you're guarding will all be enslaved." "Oh, Race," Jenny said. "It isn't." "You didn't." Race sighed and nodded. "It didn't occur to me to leave the painting elsewhere." "Horse and tiger," Jen exclaimed, disbelieving. "Open the gate," Death and Hate insisted. "Only by summoning my sister can you save the human race." "You could do it," Anita directed a comment at Death and Hate, although there wasn't a lot of conviction in her words. "Yes, I could," Death and Hate admitted. "But why would I? That wouldn't serve my purpose at all." Race turned back to the statue of strife. He took its left hand in his right and then looked across at Jenny. She was doing the same thing with the statue of jealousy. "Good," Death and Hate crowed. "You really have no choice in the matter. Now, you must want to open the gate. Free your mind of all doubts. It is not enough merely to hold the handles of the door. You need to twist them in order to open the way. You must desire the release of the dragon." Not realising that Death and Hate had spoken metaphorically, Race tried to twist the left hand of the statue, but it didn't move. The image of Gagara came to his mind. He knew that time was short. She wasn't a knight, and as good a fighter as she was, he was sure that she would be among the first to fall. He needed the dragon. He needed to make the wish that would keep his wife safe. The pattern of the shimmering gate changed subtly. Race didn't even notice it had changed at all. "That's it," Death and Hate announced eagerly. "You've done it." "We have?" Jenny asked doubtfully. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then a tiny creature, primarily green in colour but with splashes of purple about its body, flew out of the gate. It was about the size of an insect. It had 4 opalescent wings that buzzed as the creature darted through the air. "Is that she?" Anita asked, confused. The insect buzzed briefly about Anita's head, almost prompting her to try and swat it. Then it moved on to Jenny, and again it did a quick circuit about Jenny's head before darting across to Race. As the insect flew a circuit of Race's head, the buzz seemed to change just a little. It somehow sounded a trifle more contented. Then it flew over to where Death and Hate stood waiting. The insect didn't fly about the head of Death and Hate. Instead it hovered in front of the dragon's face, almost as if it was looking him in the eye. "Hello, sister," Death and Hate greeted in a most welcoming tone. "Brother," replied a tiny voice. Slowly the insect got bigger until it was about the size of someone's head. Then it seemed to melt, dripping bits of itself towards the floor. The whole slowly transformed itself into the form of a harpy. "These gods and dragons seem to like being harpies," Jenny commented. "Why not?" the daughter of jealousy and strife replied. She turned round to face Jenny. There seemed to be quite a haughty pride about her as she spoke. "I created the harpies in the first place. They are the most beautiful of all the races that were ever created here. What else should I appear to you as?" Race was beginning to get worried. This was taking too long. He looked quickly at the image of the battle that was still being displayed in front of him. Gagara had fallen over and a number of elves were closing in to finish her off. Fortunately, a small group of knights were there by her side, cutting down her attackers and buying her time to get clear and back to her feet. Race recognised one of those who had come to her defence. It was Duke Ganespa of all people. "Please," Race said hurriedly, "I believe we get a wish." Jealousy and strife looked at Race. "Really? This is news to me." "It's traditional," Death and Hate explained. "It's like a part of a contract, a payment for them for releasing us from our prison." Is that so? Jealousy and Strife replied. She turned to Race and said, Very well then, what is it you desire? Race looked back at the battle and then at the dragon. The son of Death and Hate has had a large and mainly detrimental effect on the world since his arrival here. I wish that he had never been released from his temple prison, that any effect he has had on the world since his release is... No, Race, Jenny yelled. Hereby nullified, Race continued. Race, Jenny yelled, that would mean your death. Better I died than thousands, maybe millions who have already paid the price for the actions of this one individual. Besides, both Greyforth and Tyr would be alive, not to mention our parents, Mangloss, and no doubt many others. King Erestein would still be on the throne and your husband and Gagara would still be alive. But I'll lose you, Jenny yelled. You won't remember me, Race replied. You and Gagara would never meet and your daughter would never be born, Jenny added. Fear not, Strife and Jealousy told Jenny. I cannot grant that wish anyway. You can't, Race said, feeling both relieved and disappointed. I cannot grant a wish that affects events that have happened in the past. Nor can I grant a wish that would have the result in causing the wisher to be dead or myself to be locked back in my pocket universe, since either result would prevent you from making the wish in the first place. It would create a paradox. Even a dragon is not all-powerful, Death and Hate commented. Nice try, though. I guess that's it. You wasted your wish. Your spouses are both going to pay you the price. I shall give them another chance, Jealousy and Strife offered. You're not supposed to, Death and Hate said, sounding alarmed. There were two of them, Jealousy and Strife pointed out. So why should they not have one wish each? She turned to Jenny. What is it you desire? Jenny glanced at the image of the battle being displayed on the wall and then looked back at the dragon. I wish that the elves and goblins would leave this land, never to return. That I can do, Jealousy and Strife revealed. She didn't even so much as click her fingers. Instantly the image of battle was displayed on the wall of the temple showed the effect of the wish. The elven army that had mere moments before been charging over their own dead to reach the last few defenders in the pocket, suddenly vanished. Not just those who were living, but the elven corpses went with them. The surviving few knights gathered closer together, looking about themselves. They were clearly confused as to what happened. They seemed to be expecting it to be some kind of trap. What did you do? Death and Hate growled. Both the king and Gagara were still alive, although the king had lost his shield sometime during the battle, and by the look of it his hand had gone with it. Gagara was covered in cuts and bruises, but her only real wound seemed to be the arrow protruding from her wing. You didn't specify by what you meant by this land, Anita commented suddenly. What if they've only left the island? What? Jenny commented, then quickly she said, Flurf. I meant the land of Flurf. Too late, Jealousy and Strife chided. Though, I think you'll be happy with the result you got. Death and Hate looked horrified. You call me destructive? What have you done to my creations? I granted a wish, Jealousy and Strife remarked. Death and Hate seem to be at a loss for words. I'll return the favour. I'll do the same thing to your harpies. You'll do nothing of the kind while you're standing in my temple, Jealousy and Strife remarked. What happened? Jenny asked. You'll find out, Death and Hate replied. Race climbed slowly to his feet. My wife is safe, but now there are two of you. My mother did warn you, Jealousy and Strife replied. Still, all is not lost. Your wife is still alive, and there is one more thing I can do for you. Oh? Race asked uncertainly. Jealousy and Strife smiled broadly. This is my temple. This is the gate to my prison. No dragon is more powerful than at the gate of her own prison, or as weak as when she is standing by the gates of another's. What are you saying, sister? Death and Hate suddenly sounded very alarmed. Jealousy and Strife smiled gently. Only this? Before I was released, my mother paid me a small visit and warned me all about you. She offered me a reward if I would do something about it. I won't allow it. I'll... Then in a stricken voice he said, What have you done to me? Let me go. You cannot teleport away from here unless I wish it, Jealousy and Strife revealed. I am far too powerful for you here. You cannot do anything here unless I allow it. But, Death and Hate protested. He started to walk towards the gate, and by the look in his eyes he was doing so against his will. I set you free. Stop. Stop it. How can you do this to your own brother? What were you promised? Don't lay an egg, sweetie, Anita commented, giggling. I'm going to be given a chance to start again, Jealousy and Strife revealed, answering her brother's question. I'll be given my own little world to lord over. I will make the harpies the dominant life form. All others will be their prey. I will watch over them. I won't repeat the mistakes that got us knocked away in the first place. No! Stop her, Death and Hate pleaded with Jenny, as if he thought she could do something to save him. Talk to her. Maybe she'll listen. Without a dragon in the world, magic will cease to exist. Your spells will prove useless to you. Magic leaks in through the gateways, Jenny commented. No, it doesn't, Death and Hate replied. If magic could leak through, then a dragon could leak through. Before I came to this world, magic was nothing more than a number of superstitious rituals. There was no true magic before I came here. Without me or my sister, magic would cease to exist here again. I'd willingly make the sacrifice if it means getting rid of you, Jenny responded. No, Death and Hate exclaimed, alarmed. He glanced round at Race with imploring eyes. What about you? Your magic will also be lost. You have already taken my magic, Race revealed. I'll give it back, Death and Hate promised. I'll make you the most powerful mage who ever lived. More powerful than Klemper. You could live forever. It would be meaningless without Gagara by my side, Race countered. No, Death and Hate cried. I'll do anything. He vanished beyond the shimmering gateway. Jealousy and Strife then approached the gateway herself. Is that true? Race asked. Will all magic be lost if you enter the gate? Spells will be lost, Jealousy and Strife replied. Some items will continue to work for a while, an hour, a day, a year, maybe even a million years. It depends on the item and the amount of magic used to create it. It's even possible that certain items could be used as a reservoir of magic for the casting of spells. Sooner or later, though, everything will slowly fade and lose its power. Don't worry, you will have plenty of time to retrieve the painting from your ring and release those you hold there. You know about the painting? Race asked. I'm a dragon, Jealousy and Strife said. We may not have power over everything, but we are close to omniscient. I can even see the future. There are many possible futures. The only future I can't see is one where another dragon is involved. We cannot predict each other's actions, fortunately. Fortunate indeed, Anita commented. Jealousy and Strife looked first at Race, and then at Jenny. Once I'm across the threshold of the gateway, you must take the hands of the statues in yours again, and will the gate closed. The door between our universes must not be allowed to stay open, else my brother will be able to come and go as he pleases. Will you be alright? Race asked. The universe I go to now was created for me, Jealousy and Strife revealed. I have most power there. My brother will be no threat. Besides, I'm sure my mother will honour her promise to me. And if she doesn't? Anita asked. At least I'll have some company in my imprisonment, Jealousy and Strife replied. It was a pleasure to meet you, Jenny said. Jealousy and Strife looked at Jenny and then Anita. There is one thing I could do for you before I leave. I could make you both harpies. After all, they are the most beautiful creatures that ever set foot on the surface of this world. I won't, Jenny commented. Thanks, but no, Anita added. I like being human, Jenny said, and I don't think my husband would understand. As you wish, Jealousy and Strife replied. It's your loss. Then she stepped across the threshold of the gateway and vanished from sight. Quickly, Anita spoke, before she changes her mind and comes back. Race turned to the statue of Strife and grabbed its hands in his. He then willed the gateway to be closed again. The shimmer of the gateway changed subtly back to how it had been. The change was so subtle, though, that neither Race nor Jenny noticed any difference. How do we know if it's closed? Jenny commented after a couple of minutes. I don't know, Race replied uncertainly. He released the hand of the statue and stood up. I have a feeling it has closed, though. Besides, we can't stay here forever. Are you sure it's closed? Anita asked. No, Race replied. It's just a feeling. I have it too, Jenny commented. She climbed to her feet and brushed her hands together. Then she said to the others, Let's get out of here.